Okay, here's a problem using carbon-14 dating. We've got our typical con artist, Sneaky Pete, who brings a baseball bat into the pawn shop. It claims it belonged to Shoeless Joe Jackson and was used during the Black Sox scandal World Series. It does have Joe Jackson's name on it. So, uh, before we agree to purchase the bat or to take it in, we want to test to see if it's authentic. Well, the bat's made of wood, and as we know, wood has carbon-14 in it. So we send it out to do a carbon-14 test. And that comes back, and we find out that it's got 99.481% of its carbon-14. And just a side note, carbon-14 dating is usually not that precise or that accurate. Um, it would be irrelevant to use in a problem like this. However, this is a teaching demonstration, and we're using it to solve exponential formulas. So for the sake of the story, we'll go ahead and continue. So if we've got 99.481% of the carbon-14 left, let's use that to determine how old the bat is and see if it possibly could have been signed and used by Shoeless Joe Jackson in the World Series. Okay. Well, we've got our decay rate formula, our carbon-14 formula. Okay. And we can use any number for the initial amount. The easiest number to use is 100 since we're dealing with percentages. Okay, and we want to find out how long it would have been decaying, or when this bat would have been, when the tree the bat came from would have been cut down in order to make this bat. So if we start out with 100 units, 99.481% of 100 is just 99.481. So we put that in there. Okay. By now we know that the decay constant for carbon-14 is 0.000121, and we want to solve this for t. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 100. That just moves the decimal over 2 places. Okay, and then to cancel out the e, we're going to use the natural log. Oops, my decimal didn't show up good before. So we have natural log, and that's just going to cancel the e on the right-hand side. Remember, the natural log is base e, and when you put a log with the base, the same base together, they do cancel each other out. And then we're going to divide by the decimal here. So that'll leave the t by itself. And we collect all this together. And notice, since we don't want to lose anything by rounding, we kept everything together. And now that we're at the last step, let's put it in the calculator. And when we do that, we see we get a t value of right about 43. And so what it means is that the wood that the baseball bat was made from has had its carbon-14 decaying for about 43 years. Okay. Well, if it's 2013, okay, we go back 43 years from that, which means that the tree that this came from would have been chopped down in the year 1970. Now, some of you may be baseball fans and know that the Black Sox scandal was in the 1919 World Series. So based on our carbon-14 dating, we can tell that this bat was made well after the 1919 World Series. So the claim that it was used in the World Series is false. But what about the claim that it was signed by Shoeless Joe Jackson? Well, I think we can probably also consider that claim to be a Fake, because Shoeless Joe Jackson died in 1950. Okay. So again, this bat was made well after Shoeless Joe Jackson would have died. I'm sorry, died in 1951. Had to do a quick Google search there. But at any rate, that was long before this tree would have been cut down to make the bat. So by using the carbon-14 dating problems, we can tell that this bat was definitely not signed by Joe Jackson and not used in the World Series.